So ESPN broadcaster Ryan Clark went from "the people have spoken and I respect Donald Trump for being elected as president" to "I got a bunch of online backlash, so I'm going to fold like a cheap suit and I no longer respect him." Let's break this down.
I had a couple of days to digest the election, and right afterwards, I put out a tweet saying that I respect President Trump as the president and his office. And there was a lot of pushback from my community on social. I voted for Kamala Harris.
Number one, I think it's pretty weak if you're going to allow some social media pushback to make you fold and show that you have no spine. Number two, and most importantly, I don't know how any Christian could ever support Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party of today. They are for abortion at any point for any reason. That's what Kamala Harris ran on, and you can't back up your defense of that biblically. Can't do it. Democrat Party also voted for children that are born after a botched abortion get no medical care. Therefore, explicit material in public schools. They are for open borders, crime and drugs running rampant. They are for gender being fluid. They don't affirm that God created us male and female. Again, there's so many things that are wrong with the right, and they've compromised on many things, but if you're going to tell me as a Christian, the moral stance would be supporting Kamala Harris and the Democrats, just can't back it up biblically.
Harris, but it reminded me of how divisive this country had gotten, how divisive this election had gotten. People truly thinking about this not being a place that they could live. Even my oldest daughter, who was visiting my parents, told me at 7 a.m. she got up and she just laid in the bed with my mother and cried.
Quite frankly, Ryan Clark, if your daughter is depressed and crying because Donald Trump got elected president, you've let her down as a father. If her reasoning is because she feels like women's rights are under attack, you're a Christian parent. You can't go along with the other self-professed Christian, Steph Curry, that says the reason he supports Kamala Harris is because of women's rights. It's all about being able to end the life of their children, as if that's empowering, as if that aligns with our biblical values.
Cried. Started when we wanted to make America great again. But wasn't it before? I felt like it was the greatest it had ever been. For 8 years, President Obama represented us with class and with grace and with elegance and with decency.
So obviously Trump has his flaws, but to act like Obama wasn't one of the most divisive presidents in the history of the country is crazy. It's revisionist history, honestly. Just look at how Obama was behind every bit of this campaign and this coup to get Biden out, insert Kamala, or Kamala, whatever. And look at what he did when it came to LeBron James's endorsement, which was a manipulative, highly edited video to call Trump and his supporters KKK members, segregationists, so racist, and Nazis. Very unifying.
We elected someone that ran a campaign based in bigotry and based in hate. And for those 4 years, it wasn't great.
Ryan Clark, Kamala Harris, and the Democrat Party called Trump Hitler. So did the liberal media over and over and over, and claimed his supporters were Nazis. At this point, I gotta believe that you're bought and paid for.
16, I remember someone sitting in that office calling people that peacefully protested sons of bitches.
Colin Kaepernick originally kneeled for a knife-wielding criminal that already stabbed someone multiple times in San Francisco and refused to comply with police officers. He wore socks that depicted police officers as pigs. He wore a Fidel Castro t-shirt in a press conference. He said that the NFL Combine is like the slave trade. He called his adopted parents that adopted him out of the goodness of their heart racist. Colin Kaepernick said that America is racist to its core.
In this campaign, it's still the same sort of bigotry. It's still the same sort of speech. I think now the difficult part is I do understand that not everyone that supports him believes in his rhetoric. Not everyone that supports him thinks bigotry is okay.
You want to talk about hateful rhetoric? Look at the party that you support as a Christian. Kamala Harris, the Democrats, the liberal media all called Donald Trump Hitler and his supporters Nazis. Joe Biden called supporters of Donald Trump garbage. Mark Cuban said there's no intelligent women around Trump.
They've told me that he believes in Christian values, and it said God gave us grace for the salvation of all. For me, I'll give him that grace because I do want salvation for all people. It's going to be forever hard to respect the man, and I don't, and I won't, but I will respect the office.
I'm glad you want to see everybody saved. I think that should be the heart of a Christian. But at the same time, let's go back to Kamala Harris telling people that just said Jesus is king at her rally that they must be at the wrong rally. You said nothing about that.
I want to be a sane man in an insane society. I want to be a reasonable man in an unreasonable world. So I won't be divisive. But I do hope, for all of our sakes, he understands that he's our president.
How can you expect people to call you a reasonable man when you vote for the party that wants men in women's sports? How can you say as a Christian man, I am a sane, reasonable person when I'm aligned with the person and party that least aligns with my supposed biblical values? Ryan Clark, I hope you see this and reassess what you've just put out there.